Hello everyone, welcome back to Pommyinoz. If you are new around here, please drop a like, please drop a subscribe, it means the world to me. We're well on the road to 1k. It would be grouse if we could hit that around round one men's game. That would be grouse. But what we're doing today is we're going to do the recap. We're doing the Pommy Wrap on the beloved girls game. It's been an absolute spectacular round two with a lot to talk about and a lot to digest. So without any further ado, here comes your one-stop shop for everything if you missed it, because you missed a ripper. So let's start off. Carlton versus the Bulldogs. Now, the Carlton girls ended up going down in a real barnstorming game by 6 points at the Witten Oval. And it was an absolute splendid game. It was a real solid game. It was a real style and matchup kind of makes fights. We always talk about that. Every week I'll say that. And it was a real battle of the walls, really. It was Carlton's high-paced, fast forward line, real trying to lock it in. And the Doggies playing that high defensive line, looking to really try and turn the ball over in the middle of the park and get you on the jump. And it was a seesaw affair from both sides. The first quarter kind of mirrored the entire game. It was momentum and it was really a game of opportunities. Izzy Huntington was absolutely phenomenal in this game. She matched up against Charlotte Wilson and she might have missed a few shots, but she really impacted late on. It was the return of Taylor Harris as well. She finally got amongst the goals. Prosparkis as well, dominant. But the real story really is of Blackburn. Absolutely dominant for the Dogs and really did add a bit of gloss and a little bit of quality when they counted. They were really tough to beat and the Doggies were deserved winners in the end. The final quarter really summed it up for Cal, and a lot of the ball, 15 of the last inside 50s, resulting in no goals, and it was a defensive masterclass. By that stage, it's got a lot of work to do for the Carlton girls. Many people's picks to win this year, 0 and 2, with the top sides really looking dominant. A lot of work to do in round 3 when the fixtures get released for the girls. But really, the Doggies look really well equipped. Best on for me for both sides. I thought Georgia G was phenomenal for the Carlton girls. Really looking to get some energy going on the wing. Really dominant. Really getting in a lot of touches. Had that sweet goal as well in the second half. And really was that cog in the chain. A lot of 2011 Mark Murphy about a really dominant, that MVP year. Prosparkis as usual for Carlton, her usual dominant self, 24 touches, 6 tackles. And Mimi Hill, 17 touches for her, just the 1 tackle, but she was everywhere. Real phenomenal acquisition for a talented Carlton girls side. The Doggies on the other hand, Blackburn, she was dominant as usual, really looks a threat. Lamb and Newton make up 3 and 2 and 1 there. She was really impeccable, especially Blackburn. 22 touches, 2 goals and 5 marks. And there's not much that can be said about it. The goals obviously coming from Blackburn 2, McLeod 2, Huntington and Fitzgerald made up the goal scorers for the Doggies. Carlton 2 from Harris, 1 from Hugo O'Day, Katie Loynes and Georgia G wrapping it up, resulting in a 6-point win for the Doggies. A lot of work to do moving ahead for Carlton girls. They need to turn these dominants into goals. But for the Doggies, starting to aim high. Next up, we had the Magpies and they faced Geelong. And it was a tough game for the Geelong girls. We said it in the preview. The Pies ran out 29-point winners. And really, it was a tough game at Victoria Park for Collingwood. They didn't have it all their own way. Geelong really held up by Amy McDonald. 15 touches and 5 tackles from her. And they really did have the better of the opening exchanges. But that midfield department of Collingwood really paving the way. Brianna Davey really a standout for them. Really getting the game swinging in her favour. 25 touches, 5 of them clearances. And she also kicked what you would say was the sealer in the final term. And it really did show you the experience of Collingwood. They've built quite a formidable list. And there's a lot of superb players there. Chloe Molly again, looking streets ahead of the competition. She's a real threat up forward, making things happen, laying the pressure, getting the goals, bringing people into the game. Real solid again as well. Bonocchi, superstar in the making there, really did put Geelong to the sword. Really good control of the footy. Geelong, though, a lot to look forward to. Obviously, no one fancied them in this game, but they have spark, they have endeavour, they have something about them. And there was a little bit of brain lapses towards the end of the game that really kind of blew the score out. But a lot of hope for them there moving ahead. And really, they could be a good side. They're not far away. And they will turn the corner. Really, I would say, big prediction, 2022, the AFLW competition, you could see about 8, 9, 10 sides win this thing. The gap isn't really that big anymore. I know the scoreline suggests it is, but it's getting closer. Best on ground then for me, I thought Bonucci, she was brilliant. Davey and Livingston for Pies, they were brilliant. Livingston again, every time she plays, she just pockets someone up, and she absolutely killed the Geelong forward line, really stifled it. Very smart footballer. Brianna Davey, though, an absolute wonderful acquisition, co-captain, really dominant there. And, you know, Bonucci, she does it, doesn't she, every week. Absolute phenomenal footballer, really led the way for me. And just the control, the poise, and the way that the Pies girls move it is a real joy to watch. Geelong, O'Connor, McDonald and Crockett Grills for me. I thought all three of them really did well. It was a tough afternoon. Amy McDonald as well. She's really leading from the front. She needs to find a bit more of the pill, and I think she needs a bit of help around her. But the signs are there that they are building something. The goals coming from Shyla, Can, Molly, Davey, Rowe and Alexander for the Pies girls. Barbara and Boyd propped up the Geelong Cats. And it was a great game, and moving ahead, we don't know the fixture next week, but, you know, Geelong will be hoping to play, you know, one of the middle of the road sides and really get it. They're not far off. They do deserve some justice for their reward, and they are looking good. The Pies, on the other hand, will start to be dreaming big, and I don't think they'll fear anyone in this competition. Their game style matches up. They are very well dressed, very well rehearsed, and I think they could probably beat anyone in the comp on their day. They seem to structure themselves very well against their opposition, and it'll be interesting to see how they'll match up if they have to play the Crows or the North Melbourne Kangaroos. Melbourne versus Richmond up next at Casey Fields, and it was a tough one for Richmond, and Melbourne really did canter away, and they'll be very happy with this performance as well, because it was kind of a start to finish. They had the opening blip where the Tigers got the first, and you did think, oh, could it be? Could it be? However, they ran away with it. That forward line is dangerous. Cunningham, Zanka, Bannon and Parry, they really do stretch any opposition. And then when you add the midfield department as well, the midfield really do hold the ball well. They control the footy. You've got the vision of Pearce, and the players like that, they really do know how to lay the pressure. It was a very even game, you know, on the old statistical scoreboard, but experience counts for all, and the good ball users and the superior experience of Melbourne really shone through. They never really looked in threat. Conti, though, she was dominant for the Tigers, 27 touches. She was absolutely brilliant. However, this is where the Ds are so strong, spread across the board. You look at their stat line numbers, and everyone chips in. They are a team as opposed to a few individuals propped up by superstars. And it was a super game. Melbourne, you know, probably I didn't fancy them as much as I probably should have done at the start of the year, but they've just got class everywhere. They really do hold the ball well. They know when to switch on, when to turn attack into defence, and vice versa. And you can see the inexperience of the Richmond girls. It's starting to come together though, but at the moment, not quite there. Sarah Hoskin, though, she was doing her best. A bit of steadiness, her tackle pressure, and her use is going to start showing. It'll bear fruits, probably not this year, but 2022, they're building towards something. Best on ground then, I thought Mifflin, Hanks and Paxman for the Ds were phenomenal. Real solid outfit there, and really were head and shoulders above the rest. It's tough with Melbourne though, because you could give 3-2-1 to probably anyone on that team sheet. They really do play together and play for each other, and they're a fearsome side. Richmond, Conti, Hoskins and Seymour, I thought they were the best on ground. Conti is another level, and she's really gonna want to drag the standard up. She can get a couple of people to help in the off season. They could be a superstar, because Hoskin and Conti, they're starting to link up. They've got Frederick up forward as well. It's not many holes need filling, but they just need that upper level to go up a bit. Goals, Bannon 2, Hoare 2, Cunningham, Scott and Paxman propped up the Melbourne goal list. Goals spread around the ground there. Richmond, Frederick and Hoskins. It's a tough one for Richmond. Moving ahead, just got to be more than the same. It will come. They will get someone on an off day. I think all they need is a win really to really spark their season. Melbourne, on the other hand, they'll start to be dreaming big. You know, you won't want to play this side in finals because they are a tough outfit to break down. A lot of talent around the ground and a real exciting team to watch. North Melbourne up next, and they played the Saints at Arden Street, and it was a sellout there. There was a lot of people there. North Melbourne Kangaroos, one of the teams to beat, and they really displayed a 26-point dominant win against a talented and very chutzpah-type side in St Kilda. It's phenomenal that, you know, least goals conceded in this comp, and that backline is fearful. And despite the best efforts of Patriarchos, who had 27 touches, and Tiana Smith, that Roos midfield is tough. Emma Kearney dominant, Brutton dominant, 22 apiece, Garner 18, and she really came into it in the second half. It's a real tough outfit to beat down. They have talent everywhere, and they have talent where it counts. Kearney is a superstar of this competition, and when you've got players like Riddle, Garner, Brutton, these girls really know how to go up a level, and this is the best attacking team in the competition for mine. When they get going, they are very tough to beat, and few sides can stop them, because if you get through that forward wall, that backline wall is dominant. The midfield just apply pressure. They get the ball moving to the outside, and once they get going, it can get ugly. I thought the Saints did very well to keep it to 26, because that could have been a blowout. Credit to them. St Kilda girls, on the other hand, Smith, Patriarchos, Priest as well. These are phenomenal girls, and they've got a lot of talent, and they play a real good brand of football. But this was a case of North Melbourne bullying them, and I think they kept it to where they wanted to keep it. Come finals time, I can see these girls, you know, getting over 100 if they want to on their day. If you come across them on the bad day, watch out. North Melbourne goals coming from Bateman, Randall, Gavalis, Garner and Riddle. St Kilda just the one goal from Smith, as we discussed. And the best on for me, Kerner, Riddle and Garner for the North Melbourne. They are a class apart. Kearney is, for me, one of the best players in the competition right now. Probably not getting enough love, but she is a phenomenal. She's an absolute superstar. I'd pay $50 to watch her play. Real good. Props up as well. Riddle, Garner. The list goes on with North Melbourne girls. They are a solid outfit. St Kilda, I thought Patriarchos, she was unlucky to be on the losing side. Smith and Priest again. Again, North Melbourne will be looking ahead and thinking, you know what, we can win this. We are probably by now the deserved favourites. But I mean, when you've got players like Gillespie Jones, like Riddle, Brunton, Kearney, Garner, these girls know how to play. And it's a solid outfit. There's no weakness there. They're one team that, you know, the right age profile, right skill level. They are very tough to beat. St Kilda, you know, Lucas Rod, Phillips, Sherlock, they're really propping up Patriarchos and Phillips and Priest. It's tough to pick a winner. Moving ahead, though, their game style is phenomenal. And just more of the same. Just keep doing what you're doing, girls. It'll come. It'll come. Lions then in the Q Clash, as they're calling it, and it was a phenomenal game. Lions running out 63 winners, and it was Lions were red hot, and it was a tough conditions to play footy, but the Lions were just playing with a different ball. Jessie Wardlaw, phenomenal with 4 goals. She was brilliant. Propped up as well with Davidson. When they get going, it's going to be really tough to stop. The Lions are superb. Suns, victims of their own game style, they play a no-brand nonsense game of really giving it a go and giving no respect to the opposition, and it really put pay to them because Brisbane, they got their hands to their influential players and they literally took it away. Arnell Grinder down the back as well, just literally a different class. Gold Coast couldn't really get anything going. This was literally a who's who of how to control the footy against the weaker opposition. Fair play to the Suns, they gave it a go, and they did threaten at times, and they did try, and they never stopped trying, but against a class mature outfit like the Brisbane Lions, once they get going, it is tough to stop. They did threaten at times, and let's be honest, there was moments for them, but 2 behinds, one of the lowest scores in the competition. You ain't going to get much going, and that was just a credit to down the back. The best on the ground then, for me, Conway, Wardlaw and Grider were absolutely phenomenal. Tough though, because you could give that to literally one of 8 girls, them 3 votes. They were phenomenal. Gold Coast, the standouts for me, Drennan, she kept going, Pregali, she kept going as well, and Surman. All 3 of them really did try again. But really, it was a tough day at the office, a very good learning curve for the Suns to know the detriments of their game style, and sometimes you've got to go safety first. But this will be an eye-opener for a lot of them. The Lions will have caused a few questions. 4 for Wardlaw, Davidson 4 and Bodie for 2. Davidson and Wardlaw, when they get going, they're going to be tough to stop. Absolute phenomenal. Moving ahead, Brisbane are in a little bit of niche of form. At home, they look strong in Queensland. How they'll fare against the other sides interstate is another case. But at the moment, they look tough to stop, and you won't want to come across them. Suns, though, you know, back to the drawing board for them. Keep doing what you're doing, girls, because it will work. But desperate need of a bit of maturity in that middle of the park for me. It looks vulnerable, and when the wheels fall off that game style, they fall off. Crows then, they went and played the Giants Sports Park, and it was at the Blacktown International Sports Park on Sunday, and it was a great game. 47 points by the Crows. Again, the Crows, ominous at the moment. They're playing good footy, and it was really just their ability to control the game. That they are probably the best tempo managers in the comp. They can play fast, they can play slow, and you know, once they get going forward as well, and they choose to make the shackles come off, they went. And when you look at GWS, Alice Parker, as we know, 27 touches, 16 of them to contested. She dominated, but the Crows find a way. And Ebony Marinoff, shout out to you, absolute superstar on the park, absolute brilliant. Phillips as well, she's the best player in the competition on her day, and again showing it, absolutely brilliant. I thought Danielle Ponter as well, shout out to you, she was absolutely phenomenal. 3 goals, she took her moments well, but not just her ability to score goals, it's her ability to bring other players in, it's her ability to lock it in the forward line. But all over the ground, Adelaide are a fearsome side. I can't wait to see the Crows match up against the Roos. That is the game you want to see. Randall as well, showing her diversity, went up forward this time, kicked her first goal in the final term. She looked very good, and again that shows they've got the ability to roll the dice, the ability to change, the ability to switch it up. GWS on the other hand, they have moments, they can match it up with anyone. You know, they dominated, you know, the clearances, but they just couldn't get it to hand, and that'll show them signs. They've got the signs there. Probably the forward line needs to be a little bit more cohesive for me. It looks a bit disjointed from the midfield to the forward line, but when you've got players like Parker, anything could happen. Best on ground then, for me, Parker, Beeson and Hetherington for GWS. They got going, especially Parker. She's phenomenal. She really could do with another herself in that team. But they kept trying, they kept going. Crows, tough side to beat. Marinoff, Phillips and Hatchard, for me, Adelaide Crows, best girls on the ground. They were dominant. You could give that to anyone though. Marinoff, she's probably unlucky. Randall, she's probably unlucky not to be in it. But, you know, it's hard to go past. I mean, Erin Phillips as well. The most dominant 19-touch game you'll ever see. Goals, Zerka and Parker for GWS. Ponta 3, Hatchard, Phillips, Randall, Newman, Jones and Woodland for the Crows. And that's why they're so dangerous. Goals around the ground. Doesn't matter who you stop, they find a way. Adelaide definitely will be the happier of the 2 sides going in. They won't fear anyone, but GWS should know they can match it. Once Parker gets going, and if they can get a little bit of support and they can find some of them clearances to hand, they'll be tough to beat. They're always in it. It took class. Few sides would have been able to cope with GWS. Crows just another level at the moment. And finally, Freo Oval. And it's always great to see 2 Western state sides go at it. Freo versus the Eagles. And the Freo team grinded out a tough, bruising derby by 9 points. And although last year it was very one-sided, this year it shows that, you know, the competition is getting closer. But Bowers, shout out to you. Absolute dominant. 22 possessions, 17 of them contested, a goal. And she was voted best on ground that day. And she was relishing footy conditions. And she absolutely dominated. Everything she did created something. And they looked a threat throughout the game. Fremantle, they're building something very special there. And they're going to be literally looking at the Roos, looking at the Crows, and saying, you know what, we can beat these girls. We can beat these girls. Class around the ground as well. Duffy, Miller to complement Houghton, Cuthbertson and Bowers. Kane as well. They have got talent around the ground. And they really did show a masterclass of how to beat West Coast. They really cemented them, particularly in the final term, in their final 50. They dominated the fourth term, and despite the best efforts of Swanson, Bullis, Smith, Laurie, they couldn't really do anything old West Coast, and that is a shame. But West Coast, you know, they'll take heart in that. Fremantle were a tough outfit, and they're up for the fight. They can make it scrappy. It was a fourth term dominance of Fremantle that did it, but shows this game you've got to play 4 quarters, and against the top team it's tough. They were littered with injuries as well in such a bruising encounter by the West Coast, and I wish them well. I mean, if they lose a few of them girls, they're going to be stuck. The Goals, Bowers and Houghton, they played brilliant as well. Should have been more. 11 behinds, 9 of them in the final term. McCarthy and Cameron, they scored the goals for the girls. Best on ground for me, West Coast, Bowen, McCarthy and Swanson. They never stopped trying. They fought hard till the end. It's a shame because they put enough intensity to win that game. Bowers, Duffy and Houghton get the votes for me in the Freo girls. But the Freo girls, they have that of another level. Moving ahead, they'll be thinking, we have another level and we don't fear anyone. And, you know, when you've got Houghton, you've got Bowers, these players are tough to beat. Tough to beat. And on their day, they're good. Houghton for me as well. Gemma Houghton, absolute superstar. You know, there's a lot of talented footballers in WA, and now the girls are making a claim for it. West Coast, on the other hand, they'll be assessing these injuries, licking their wounds. Maybe deserved a bit more. Unlucky not to get it, but phenomenal effort. Moving ahead, more of the same. You'll beat sides playing that way, but again, there is a talent gap there. Looking ahead, they'll hope to get lucky somewhere. That's the wrap for this week's phenomenal games, like we say. Honestly, be sure to check out the highlights. Wonderful games though, all around. Can't wait for round 3. Who were your best on grounds? What were your takeouts? Let's have a chat. Till next time, Pommy out.